Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. This is the Mgtow Cowboy. Greetings and salutations. Let me get a second here, grab a drink, turn off the air conditioner, and hopefully very soon we will be chatting it up with Mr. Tom Golden. I'll drop the link and we'll go from there. All right. Let's see here. There we go. Start in 2 minutes. Very good. I'll drop the link in just 1 second. All right. Do 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 do. Oh, sipping on rye by the riverbed. I caught 10 fish and I killed a bit. All right, let's see if we can find that link. Go into guests, invite guests, copy. Very good. Post a comment. I think that's how you do it. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, that looks good. All right. What time? Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Again, this is the Mgtow Cowboy. Greetings and salutations. This evening, I wanted to do an interview with Mr. Tom Golden. Mr. Tom Golden is a well-known men's rights activist. I had been in communication with him several times, and I asked him respectfully if he could make time for essentially introducing himself to the Mgtow community. So we went back and forth a little bit, and finally, him and I were able to connect, and we thought that today would be a good time, a good day and good time to meet up, chop it up. So, all right. So while we're here, let's see. Oh yeah, I see Polska Bob is here. What's up, Polska? If you want to jump in, as long as you're not crazy, you know. Let's see. Oh, someone texted me on my phone. I don't recognize that call. I don't recognize that number. I don't know what that is. Hey, Polska, can you do me a favor and I don't know if you know how to do this. Do you know how to um, post the link? Like, I don't even know how to describe what I'm saying. Do you know how to post the link so that it's like permanently affixed in the stream or in the comment section? If you can do that. Anyway, so I guess we'll give it a couple minutes. We'll see. Hopefully, Mr. Golden shows up on time, and well, I also understand that I don't think he has a lot of experience dealing with StreamYard. So I tried to give him a very quick tutorial. You know, go on, get on YouTube. Once you're on YouTube, find my channel, click on the channel, click on the little video that has a little red box in it that says live, and you follow the prompt, and click on the link, and so yeah, well, I'm sure we'll work out all the technical difficulties. Um, yeah. So anyway, the last night I was brushing up a little bit on Mr. Tom Golden, and I was watching one of his videos. In this particular video, he had Professor Janice Fiamango on. I think he also had another gentleman whose name I cannot recall at the time, or I can't recall right now. But yeah, they were chopping it up. They were talking about they were talking about consent and consent laws, and I found that very interesting. Of course, I consider myself very well versed, in Mgtow and gender dynamic, but it's nice how we can bounce ideas off of each other. I didn't know that a woman can remove consent at any time during the act. All right, let's see here. It says here, Polska Bob is saying, pin the comment, cowboy. Oh, I see Doug MPA is here. Hey, what's up, Doug MPA? I'd be happy to bring you on. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this right. It's pin the comment. How do I do that? Star the comment. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that, Polska. Can you do that? Polska, didn't I make you a wrench? So you can do that, right? I think you can. I'm not sure. You'll let me know, I'm sure. Let's see here. Polska, I'm gonna add you. Polska, I'm gonna add you in 3, 2, 1. Add to stream.
Hey, Cowboy, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I should ask everyone. How is my audio? Is my audio okay?
Yeah, your audio is good.
Okay, great. Okay, Doug MPA, I see you, and I'm going to add you into the stream. I'm going to add you right now. So I'm adding you in 3, 2, 1. That should work.
Hey, Mgtow Cowboy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us.
Polska
how
Bob,
are you?
Good to meet you, buddy.
Good to meet you too, Doug. Cowboy, I cannot pin the comment. That is something you have to do on your YouTube.
Yeah,
window.
you have to go to open up a separate tab with the actual video in YouTube, and you can click on the comment and pin it. So open up a separate tab, go to YouTube, and go to this live on YouTube.
Okay, well, let me say this. I do see who does appear to be Mr. Tom Golden. Hello, Mr. Tom Golden. I see that you just pinned, or I'm sorry, you just made a comment. I think what you can do is if you look up, you should be able to see. I posted a link, a StreamYard link.
Yeah.
If you can click on that and follow the prompts, it should be relatively easy. And then we'll see if we can get you on. And thank you for showing up on time. I'm sorry I was a little late. But it was mostly.
Yeah, that StreamYard link will take you right here to where we are right now.
Oh, okay. You know what? I just pulled it up. It looks like Mr. Tom Golden is in. He's backstage, so we do have him. That's awesome. Okay. Well, I'm gonna add Mr. Tom Golden right now. Tom, if you can hear me, I'm adding you in 3, 2, 1.
There he is.
Should be on. Okay. Yes, Mr. Golden, can you hear us, sir? Okay, very good.
Good deal.
Okay, we can hear you. Honored to meet you.
I can hear you just fine.
Long-time fan.
First off, I wanted to say your practice is in Gaithersburg, Maryland.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Doug.
Wait.
Yeah. Okay. So if
Well,
we
it used
do
to
a
be.
very quick.
I only do online stuff now.
Okay, because I spent 9 years. Well, up until 2 weeks ago, I spent 9 years in Gaithersburg. So, where your practice is, I'm very familiar with that area. Yeah, it's a very nice area.
Really?
Yeah.
I know Gaithersburg well.
Do you still live in Gaithersburg?
Yeah, good. That's good.
Okay.
So Mr. Golden, again, thank you.
No, I live out near Frederick, Maryland.
Okay.
There's a big delay on this Mgtow Cowboy.
Are you
okay?
Wait,
Is the delay on
Mgtow
my
Cowboy,
end,
hold
or
on.
is the delay on your end?
Are you, Tom? Are you listening through YouTube or are you listening through StreamYard? Turn off YouTube.
Yeah, and just listen through StreamYard. There's no delay here.
Ooh, good question. Turn off YouTube.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's not.
X out of YouTube.
That's good. I'm glad you told me that.
And make sure that your microphone.
You could just mute the YouTube, so
Yeah.
you're not getting
Can
the
you
audio
hear me
for that.
Yeah, can you hear us through StreamYard?
Crap. Why is that doing that? Okay, I paused YouTube.
Okay,
But it cut
can you still
everything
hear
out.
us?
Okay, because you're going through YouTube. Go to your StreamYard window.
Hang on. There we go. Now YouTube's muted. Can I hear you?
Yeah, can you hear us? Okay.
Is there a delay
That's
now?
strange.
Okay.
The audio is not coming through my headphones. It's coming through.
He has to go to StreamYard. Click on StreamYard because he might not have connected his audio when he came into the room.
Well, also
see,
keep in mind
to get that working. So I can
also,
hear it. It's just not coming through the right place. I'm on a new computer too, so I'm kind of handcuffed in a way. Let's see.
Right,
here.
I was about to say. I think the three of us are using probably a phone. I'm not sure.
I know what I could do. I know what I could do. Hang on just a second. Let's see. Is that going to be that kind of connection here? Hang on. Let's see. We can make this happen. We're going to pull that. Put that straight in. Now let's see if that works like that. Talk to me.
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Why is it not working? Shit.
Huh.
Well,
Okay. Is he on the StreamYard tab? Because that's the only place he needs to be. And odds are he's on YouTube still.
it says StreamYard in the upper right.
Okay. So can you see us, like the picture of all four of us?
I can see Mgtow Cowboy, Polska Bob, Doug MPA, and Tom.
So can you hear everything okay?
The audio is coming through my computer and not through my headphones.
Okay.
So I tried to, let me do one more thing here. Hang on. Let's see. There.
Go to settings and you can choose in StreamYard and go to audio. Go to the little wrench at the bottom, Tom. You see how it says settings?
Yeah, hang on just 1 second.
Sure.
Tom, go to the settings tab at the bottom in StreamYard.
Doug, what do you think is the issue? What I think the issue
Okay,
is
at the bottom of StreamYard. Tell me what that means.
Click on settings. You'll see mute, start cam, settings, present, leave studio at the bottom. Click on the settings wrench.
The screen for YouTube, not the StreamYard screen.
Okay. Look up at the top of your browser and you should see a StreamYard broadcast tab. Click on that.
What's it look like?
It has a little duck. And you should see
Let's see if we can find
a red circle because
you should be able to see the head of a duck.
I don't see a little duck anyplace.
It's also in the top right hand corner of the actual broadcast. That's the duck you're looking for.
Also, keep in mind it may be harder for him because he's on a computer. I bet you the three of us are using our phone.
No. I'm on a computer. I always go to my computer.
Yeah, I'm on my laptop.
It's actually a red circle.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Now,
so
settings,
are you
there we go. Hang on.
Settings. Now click on audio, please.
Yeah.
And you should see speaker. What does it say under speaker? You have to
Mac Studio built in. Let's see what we can do with this. Hello.
Put audio.
There we go. We're good.
Okay, good. All right.
Sorry about all that mess, man. Jeezy peasy.
Okay, no, that's okay. Well, let me.
No delay now.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Tom Golden. Can you hear us in good time? Is there still a lag, or has the lag dissipated?
Lag's gone, baby. We're good.
Rock and roll.
We're good.
Do this.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, no. Technical difficulties are always fun. Okay. Okay. Well, great. I guess as of right now, we'll commence. All right. Well, thank you, all of you, for coming. Mr. Golden, you are the person I'm going to interview today, and it's sort of going to be a panel discussion. Of course, it's going to be a serious discussion, but it can be lively, it can be funny at times and all that. So the two gentlemen I have with me is Doug MPA, he's a sort of a newly minted Mgtow. He's on the rise. His channel's been growing very fast as of late. And then the other gentleman is a personal friend of mine. His name is Bob. We call him Polska Bob. He's sort of we call him a master wrench, and that is to say, he's basically a moderator on. Bob, how many channels are you moderated on now? Over 50? Over 100?
Closing in on 100 somewhere,
Damn.
Cowboy. So,
Okay. So these
bit.
are you could consider us like hardcore Mgtow.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. So, would you like to introduce yourself, Mr. Tom Golden?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Name's Tom Golden, and I've been working with men and boys for probably close to 50 years now. Men and boys who've been traumatized in one way or another. And that work really brought me into the whole men's issues thing, because it became so apparent that I work with families where some tragedy happened, right? And it always turned out that the people would go to the husband and say, "How's your wife holding up?" Right? And everyone would kind of scratch their head and say, "What the hell's going on here?" But it showed me right up close that this was in the 80s, the 1970s and 80s, that men are not getting compassion. Men simply do not get compassion, whereas the women do. They expect the men to take care of the women. So that kind of led me into things. And then I ran into the domestic violence stuff and the family court stuff, and it was just off to the races after that. So anyway, so here I am today.
Right. You are also the author of is it I'm sorry, 3 books, is that right?
Yeah, 3 books.
One of them is what is
the
it?
first one was Swallowed by a Snake, The Gift of the Masculine Side of Healing, which is all about, it was written in early mid-90s, I guess, and it was all about what I'd learned from working with men up until that point in time. And it was fascinating to me. What really helped me learn about men was studying the cross-cultural grief material, which I studied the indigenous tribes. And the indigenous tribes almost always give the men something to fucking do, but they give the women a place to emote and to talk. And it tipped me off. It was pretty clear, So I started watching the men, and instead of asking them how they're feeling, I asked them what they're doing, And they started telling me what they were doing, and every time it was the same thing. He was doing something in honor of the loss. He was doing something. And that's what men do. Men honor. They don't need to talk about it so much.
Yep.
They honor through their action. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Women do not get this. They do not understand it. They think men are screwed up because they can't talk about their feelings and they're not crying. Well, guess what? Testosterone limits emotional tears. When we're 12 years old, testosterone drops the capacity for men and young men then to be able to cry openly. And so, women don't know these things.
This reminds me of.
I'm
this
sorry,
reminds me of when I was young, and all through my 20s, my dad used to tell me. He said, my dad's a physician, and he's old school. And my dad used to tell me, he said, when adversity happens or something happens, you have 2 knee-jerk emotions that you're going to be able to feel: sadness or anger, right? And he said, he used to tell me, get angry. Like, don't get sad about it. Get angry, because anger is an emotion of action. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Now people unfortunately associate violence with anger, but anger doesn't mean violence. It means action. That's what it means.
Precisely.
Boys have more of a proclivity towards anger and action when it comes to adversity and loss, and not sadness and despair, because sadness and despair is an emotion of inaction. So anger is an emotion of action.
So true.
Sadness is an emotion of inaction.
The research is real clear about this. They had this research where they took 1-year-olds and they put the mother on the other side of a fence, right? Mm-hmm. Every one of them, the little girls would go up to the fence and cry. The little boys would go up and shake the freaking fence. They want to tear the damn thing down. Over and over again, they saw the same thing. And it's what you see with men and boys too. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. That's a great thing. The kid was shaking that fence. I mean, that's what he was doing. That's what he was built to do. You know.
Yep.
This is the problem. Men are built to do certain things, and people are shaming that. So if there's something wrong with men, something wrong with being angry.
If I could ask you a question, Tom. So you wrote this book in the 90s. You look at the state of things now. Like what did you see coming the most? Like, okay, two-part question. What did you see coming the most that is commonplace now? And what is something that you didn't see coming that's commonplace now?
Well, what I saw coming was feminism screwing things up. You know, and them basically using gynocentrism to screw men. And
Okay.
you see this over and over and over again. You know, what I didn't see coming was that the funding for feminism turns out to have been corporate.
Yes.
You know,
100%
and a
true.
lot of this stuff, even probably the family courts too, the money comes from where? It comes from corporations. It comes, you know, it doesn't come from grassroots stuff. You know, the feminists, there's this great little book called The Feminist Crusades by Zeppazauer. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but man, he just lays it out. He lays out exactly where their money came from. And you read the book, you go, holy crap, I can't believe this. So no one saw that one coming. Ford Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, both of those were involved in funding feminism early on. You know, it's just, that's how they got so powerful, you know. They had money. If Mgtow had that much money, we'd be in much better shape, you know.
If I can very quickly ask you this question, Mr. Golden, can you share with us your knowledge of Mgtow? What do you know about Mgtow?
Only a little bit. I've been married for almost 50 years, so you know my knowledge of Mgtow is small. I've worked with a lot of Mgtow men, and I love Mgtow men. I mean, Mgtow men are the pioneers. It's just as simple as that. You know, they're seeing things first. They see what's happening. They're the canary in the mines, you know, whatever you want to call it. But they're the pioneers. They're the people who are out there doing what needs to be done, given the reality of the situation. You know, the blue pill people basically are still stuck in this whole, you know, take care of women routine, and a man's worth is basically all in what he does. And the red pill, and hopefully Mgtow also, you shift out of that and you shift into a place where you say, wait a minute, I'm worth something because I am, not because I do. And that's the red
deep,
pill.
Man. Holy
That's
crap.
the red pill right there. You know, and the Mgtow are able to do that. You know, if you look at friendships among men, it's amazing what has transpired. If you look at the pictures of male friends back in the 1850s, guess what? They were sitting on each other's laps. They were holding hands. They were arm in arm. These men were close. These are heterosexual guys, you know, just close as can be. We've lost that.
There's certain cultures where you still can't do that, though. India, Pakistan.
Yes.
You know, you see guys walking down the street holding hands and stuff. Like a bunch of my Indian and Pakistani friends had to stop doing that when they came to the United States.
Yes. But the strange fact is that in the middle of the 19th century, we were doing that here too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've lost it. And I think it's partly because we've been taught things about men that are simply not true.
Would you go so far as to say that there's a concerted effort to separate men or to divide men?
Oh God, yes. Oh hell yes.
I'm reminded, for example, do you guys know? I'm sure you guys know. Was it not last year? Was it 2 years ago? Maybe even 3 years ago now. Wow. The Boy Scouts, they were forced to include girls, and they had to change their name. In fact, they're not even known as Boy Scouts anymore. I think they're called Scouts of America.
That's sad.
There's still Girl Scouts too. So there's Scouts and Girl Scouts.
Right, and then on the contrary, or I should say, but oppositely, I don't think the Girl Scouts have to allow boys into the Girl Scouts.
Correct.
I don't even think they have any boys in the Girl Scouts.
And this is one of the things they've done to separate men, is they have basically outlawed male spaces. And this is where Mgtow is starting to make inroads into that, in gathering together as men, like in the shed movement. You guys know about the sheds?
I was just about to bring that up. I did watch that video. You and this gentleman, I can't remember his last name. Was it Mr. Rothberg or
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
It was
I
a
forget his
gentleman
name
of-
too. The guy that was with the
Yeah,
American
yeah.
Shed Association. Yeah.
Right. You and him were chopping it up, and you were talking about how I think it was in Australia they have over 1,000 of these organizations or 1,000 separate
Yes.
sheds where these men they find a place and then they congregate. It becomes like almost like a club.
Like a
Basically,
lodge. You remember
it's
the
a
lodge
lot,
from the
exactly.
Sure.
I mean, when I was little, my father and his friends had the Lions Club, Rotary. They had
Knights of
barbershops for all
Columbus?
male, Knights of Columbus, all kinds of places where men could meet together as men. We don't have that anymore. And that's been one more way to separate men out, make them powerless, And family courts is one of the biggest things. Of course, the first thing was separate black men out from the families with welfare.
Yep.
And they did that successfully, and then they used family courts to work on white men. Separate
Tom, I can tell
fathers
you,
out.
I'm black. I've been black on this planet for 42 years, and I can tell you, everything that happens to the black community is going to be mainstream America in 10 to 15 years, man.
You got it.
So
I did a chart one time that showed the levels of fatherlessness in the different races, and the blacks were at the top, Hispanics were there, and the whites weren't far behind. They were coming up, but each one was like this. They were going up and up and up because the government has intentionally done this. They knew in 1962, I think, when what's his name did the report,
Moynihan?
Moynihan's report, that the problem was not having fathers in the home. It was as simple as that. So what did they do? They made it so that they could kick fathers out of the home. Absolutely insane. Just insane.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm sort of at the point now. I'm sorry to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I actually think that some of this may have been done on purpose in order to, divide us, and then in order to push the women into the hands of of the government.
Yes.
And then, more
Cowboy, it's not a conspiracy.
It's reality.
Right. Well, that's the thing. There's still people that will accuse you of being a conspiracy theorist. And then this pushes government largesse, and the next thing you know, Democrats.
Do you know who coined the phrase conspiracy theorist? Or conspiracy
CIA,
theory?
wasn't it?
The CIA.
Of course. Of course.
And they're in all this too,
Tom, the first Mgtow I had ever been exposed to, it was two at the same time. It was Tom Likas. You remember Tom Likas back in the
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
After his fourth marriage, he became Mgtow. Because remember, he was married and divorced four times. He's the OG. And then I went to college in Vegas in 2004 to 2006.
Huh.
And I had a roommate. I was 26 at the time. He was 10 years older than me, and he was like a red pill Mgtow. And I got a little bit from him. I only lived with him for like a year, but he was living the Mgtow lifestyle back then, and so I got a small little taste of it. But I didn't really understand what's the term for it called when you have to go through tragedy and divorce first before you become a Mgtow. That was my, I had one of those origin stories where I married this woman who was high maintenance, of an absolute 10. Did the happy wife, happy life thing. Got divorced. I've been Mgtow ever since. But if people ask me what the quintessential Mgtow is, I would say listen to Tom Likas in like 2008 and 2009 after he went through his fourth divorce. That's where you can get some of the best Mgtow content.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I think you probably get that from any divorced guy too.
Some more than others.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. It's the pain that is the characteristic that brings it on. Because most people who are still blue pill are simply, they don't know the pain. They've never been there before. But guys who've been through the family court grinder, they know. They know.
If I could ask you from your experience, Because I don't know if you know who Kevin Samuels is, black
Sure.
guy.
Oh, I
Okay.
love Kevin Samuels.
Yes.
What a
So,
tragedy that he died.
oh, it was awful, man.
Oh, man.
It felt like my uncle died. Like I
Yeah,
couldn't
I felt the
listen to
same
his,
way.
I couldn't listen to his content for like 6 months because it just hurt so
Oh,
bad. But
yeah.
he has a term called shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. Like all of the weapons of like modern
Hmm.
women, right?
Hmm.
And so one of the biggest I want from your experience, because we're talking about the whole divorce thing, and a lot of us Mgtows have a villain origin story. Okay, when you're talking to a woman and you get into the whole Mgtow thing, and she gets emotionally triggered, and she asks who hurt you, okay, what is your ideal answer? I mean, I have my answer, but from your like if a young guy were to say why, if a young guy were to be Mgtow and have all these women asking him who hurt you, how would you recommend him answer that question?
The first response would be how much time you got. Because there's a lot of people that have hurt you. The culture has hurt you. The family courts have hurt you. The domestic violence industry has hurt you. Everybody. I mean, everybody's taking a chip off you. And it's like by the time you get through family courts, it's like you're all chipped out. You got nothing left. So I'd say how much time you got. And here's the problem: men are not allowed to be hurt. They're not allowed to be hurt. Women are allowed to be hurt. We know that now, not just from clinical data, not just from looking at things, but from the research itself. If you look at the moral typecasting research, are you familiar with that? It basically says that people automatically will assume that women deserve help. And they'll automatically assume that men do not deserve help. And they'll also automatically assume that men don't need support for any kind of problem they might have. But they'll assume that women do need support for the problem they might have. So, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is straight from research. Tanya Reynolds did some incredible research on this. And
I was watching your video where you were talking about, what was it called? Implicit bias. Can you
oh God, that's even more recent is the implicit bias stuff. That's fantastic stuff. You guys, I highly recommend you look at that video because that's good.
So basically, when studied, people can you sort of elaborate on that? So
yeah, they've been studying this implicit bias thing for 30 years. And psychologists have, because implicit bias is what kinds of judgments do we hold unconsciously? We're not even aware of it. What kind of judgments do we hold? And they've been using it as a weapon for race and for age and for social class, etc. Right? Well, they've never really compared the different problems with the biases, right? Until this last research came out. This research compared the bias for men, bias for women, and the bias for race, the bias for social class. And totally on top was men, the bias against men. And then next down was the bias for women. So people are unconsciously biased for women and unconsciously biased against men. Think about that one. And then race came after that, and then came social class. But the difference between the race and the gender stuff was huge. It's just huge. So, again, we're living in a world that, in conclusion, we're living in a world that's filled with gynocentric bullshit. That's filled with women first.
I have a question. You might know the answer to this. What is that visceral reaction called where people, like, on my channel, I have this awful women and their foolishness series of like women just doing crazy stuff. and people still have that visceral reaction where, I can't believe a woman deleted her kids. I can't believe a woman was drinking and driving and took out 2 people. I can't believe a woman this girl poured lye on her father.
I saw that.
Yeah, like, but people still have this. I can't believe she did that. what is
Story.
That's why she got off.
what is that visceral reaction called where we still like can't believe that women are capable of such evil? Like,
That's
what is that
when
called?
That's called our assumptions about the way the world is are challenged by reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm.
it's like everyone assumes that women are wonderful, women are sweet, women are kind. When they hear this woman pouring lye on her father, it's like that
Yeah.
completely shoots that. It throws it out. And so it throws people into what they call cognitive dissonance, where they're wondering, well, what's going on? Why is this happening? And so they have to rationalize it in one way or another. And usually they'll blame the closest man.
That's true.
Right.
What do you ever see a time where society will evolve past that visceral reaction, or do you think it's
Boy,
always going to be here?
wouldn't that be a nice thing? But I don't see it. I mean,
Well,
we
I
got
don't know
centrism.
if I may interject. It seems to me that we've already had that. Like if you look at the organized religions, for example, in Islam, according to Sharia law, and I'm not saying that I promote Sharia law. Isn't it true that religions like Islam, they purposely limit some of the rights of women because it's recognized that, let's say, women are not as honest. For example, in Sharia law, I think you need the testimony of, what is it, like, um, two women in order to be considered equal to the testimony
Interesting.
of one man or something like that.
Boy, I didn't know that. That's fascinating. Huh.
Yeah. I thought, I mean, and of course, in the Western tradition, for many, many years, for a long, long time, women didn't have the right to vote, right? I mean, just think
Right.
of the franchise. The way I see it is women have organized and they're seeking political power. And right now, men, we're just starting. It's almost like we've been sucker punched and we're realizing, like,
Yeah.
that there's a gender war going on.
Some are realizing. You guys are realizing. Most men don't get it. They're brainwashed.
Yeah, that's sort of the point of my channel is to try to raise awareness. My goal, I mean, ultimately, my goal is political change. I want to change the laws. I want to manfair, especially the courts. I want to manfair the courts, the family court, you call it whatever you want, family court, divorce court,
Yeah.
child
Yeah.
custody court, child support court. I just do not understand why women have more rights than men do when you step into that court.
It's
But
crazy.
of course,
Isn't
I do understand. I think that I think that there's an agenda to dispossess men of their position in society, to
Yes.
dispossess men of their social power, their financial power, their political power. But I think if we can just get enough men to become concerned about these issues, we could win handedly. We can get back some of our rights. But
I agree with that, but I
but
don't see it happening anytime soon.
But
So-
it seems
so-
very hard to unite men.
So
Yes.
here's my thing, Mgtow Cowboy Biz. I thought about this. The only thing that successful competitive men can do now is walk away. Okay, because women think that they can run everything, and I'm to the point now where, you know what, let them. Because most women, they don't. My father, when I turned 16, he told my brother and I, you're going to have to play the man's game. The man's game is you get a job when you're 16 and you work until you're dead. So you either get a trade or get your education and put yourself in the best position you can to support the woman you care about and kids if you so choose to have them. That is the man's game. Most of us, up until recently, all throughout history, the most satisfaction most men got was, you work, then you come home, your wife kisses you on the head, and your freaking kids hug your legs, daddy, and then you get up and go do it again tomorrow. That's how society was built. Okay, now women don't want to do the dirty, rough jobs, so we still have our ace in the hole. When I was in Gaithersburg, I would run into these women who did the classic tale where they were strong and independent until they hit 35. Then all of a sudden, they're staring down the barrel of being a man, as in working until they're dead, and they want off the train. So I'm one of those guys. Stay out of the court system. Don't get married. I'm to the point, don't have kids. I don't have any kids. women are going to have to. One of the best things that Coach Greg Adams said, he said about because people try to catch him because he has a daughter, and this girl that was interviewing him was like, well, you're so red pill. What do you say to your daughter? He said, look, I don't tell my daughter anything because she's 15 or 16 years old. Anything I tell her to do, she's going to do the opposite. When she messes up enough, she's going to come to her dad for advice. And when she does that, she will listen. Enough of us men have to walk clean away and let the women fight it out for themselves and realize this whole working until I'm 65 thing is terrible. We need men back. So I'm one of those guys. Unplug. Walk away from women, walk away from these pack mule jobs, let women fight it out for themselves and come back to men. That's my plan.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
They asked for equality, and now they know what it means. It's not so pleasant.
No, yeah, I'm telling you, the man's game, we work until we're dead. I did a story on my channel about how 121,000 more single women own homes than single men. Now, Tom...
What? Really?
Poster Bob, why do you think that would be?
They probably took it from their husbands.
That's one. That's one. But men
actually, young women are getting paid more than young men now out of college. So they're actually making more
in a lot
money,
of major
but
cities.
they're spending it on bullshit. So
yeah, and a lot of female professions.
By the time they're 30.
A lot of female professions are front loaded with salary. So like if you're a teacher, you get out of school making like 45, 50,000 over the 37,000, or female hairstylists compared to barbers, or nurses get out of college making 60,000. But the problem is right around 35, men start making more money and continue making more money. Whereas a lot of female dominated positions top out at around 90,000, 85,000, right around 35, and you can't get higher than that. A man will buy a house when he's ready to have a family. He'll say, you know what? I can put a wife and kids in this house. A woman buys a house as a status symbol and as a disqualifier for potential mates, right? So women are putting themselves in positions where if they were men, they would, and they bought a house, they would marry someone, they would marry someone making $35,000 or $40,000 a year and have children. But women still don't want to support a family and a man long term.
Right. Even short term.
Yeah, even short term. Yep.
They don't like that.
So if that's true, then why are we being told that we ought to format society in such a way? If it's men that need the ability to make money and to work and to have a career, why are we pushing women to have a career and to do all these things, to take up all these traditionally male gender roles?
Look, I saw, I did a video on my channel about they did a study about female bosses, right? And 50% of women said that they don't care about the gender of their boss, but 50% of women said that they would rather work for a male boss, right? Now, those women want more female leaders. We need more females in power, but have them over men and not women. That sums up all society right now.
And you know what the female bosses say? Say that they don't want to hire women because they're bad at their jobs.
100%.
That's funny.
Yep.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Yeah, we're living in a crazy place.
So, Tom, I have a question for you. I noticed you guys haven't been doing your, because I'm sub to Janice and Paul and you too. I noticed you guys haven't been doing your Ear for Men, your hour-long shows lately, or if I'm just not getting the notifications. What's going on with that?
Paul and Janice and I haven't been doing anything. Janice and I do things together now, but not with Paul. So I guess Paul went his own way. Maybe that's the way to say it.
So we got to keep an ear out for you and Janice then to catch.
Yeah, if you go to my Substack, menaregood.substack.com or menaregood.locals.com, both of those have the things that Janice and I have been working on and all the research I've been talking about. All the things are there. I only put up YouTube channels or YouTube videos once every month or so, just to kind of let people know where I am, because YouTube throttled my channel years ago. You know, I had 10,000 subscribers, I guess 5 or 6 years ago. I still have 10,000 subscribers.
Right, right.
And so, you know, when I put a new video up there, they don't send it out to anybody. I've got like 400 views on the last video I put up. It's like, you know, so they're throttling the channel. I have a lot more fun on Substack and locals too. So you ought to come and join us. It's basically free. You know, I only have a couple of posts that are subscriber only, but most of it's free. It's good communities there. Lots of good comments.
Mm.
Okay. You know what, Tom? I'm gonna link one of your latest video in the chat here for you, for the guys. If you're not sub to Tom, there's the link right there.
Which one was that? The brainwashing one?
I did the latest one where you and Janice and somebody else are on there. I just
oh, you're talking about on YouTube.
Quick. Yeah, just on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I'd put in the beginning of that video. You'll see I'd say, "Come on to locals and to Substack," because that's where things are happening. You know, not on YouTube. YouTube is basically anti-male in a lot of ways.
Tom, if I could ask you a question, because I know you do work about men and loss. Are you talking about like death, like tragedy?
Yes.
Because how does that translate into? So like, I told you, a lot of us Mgtows have our villain origin story, and when you wake up, you feel like a loss has happened. Like you feel like you've lost. You feel like you've lost. So I'm pretty much asking you about like red pill rage, pretty much. Like when you feel like you've been had, you've been bamboozled, you've been hoodwinked, flim flam, led amok, led astray.
Betrayed.
How can your, like, from your clinical training, like, what's the best way for a guy to deal with that?
It's like I was saying before, briefly, you know, is that the best way for a guy to do it is what feels right to him. But what usually feels right for men, and some men like to talk about things, and that's fine, you know, maybe 20% I've found. But most men want to do something, and they'll do it in honor of. But let me tell you something, you know, the Mgtow men have gone through huge amounts of loss. There may not be deaths, and there may be deaths also, but think about all the things they've lost. They've lost their family, they've lost their kids, they've lost the idea of a successful family together, of successful marriage. They've lost their home, most likely. I mean, all kinds of losses just pile up. And the grief is intense, man. It's intense. So one of the things that men can do, Mgtow men can do, is to find ways to honor that. Find ways to honor the losses that you've been through and let that stuff go. Because the more you can let it go, the more you're able then to be in the present tense. And that's the grief. The problem with grief is that it keeps you from being in the moment, keeps you from being in the here and now. And instead, you're kind of always thinking, the mind's always kind of on this negative thought where, you know, I've lost this, I've lost that, this is not working, etc. So what Mgtow men can do, and what I've seen them do over and over again, is to band together. You know, what did pioneers do? Pioneers did not go back to the townspeople to ask them what to do. You know, that would be stupid. They knew better than that. They'd band together to do whatever they wanted to get done, which is what Mgtow men are doing now. You know, banding together as men, doing things together as men, whether it's a shed, whether it's a project, whether it's something activist, I mean, who knows what. But this is the way men heal, is by doing crap, getting out there and doing something. And don't let anybody tell you any different. You know, the little book that I wrote after Swallowed by Snakes called The Way Men Heal. It's only like 50 pages. And it's basically, I wrote it for men who don't want a big fat book. You know, they want 50 pages telling exactly what the hell's going on. That's what the book does. And it talks about Michael Jordan and when his father was murdered and how he dealt with that. It talks about Eric Clapton when his son died, how he dealt with that. What you see over and over and over again is these men use action. They use action. Jordan dedicated his season to his father. Nobody knew that. Nobody knew it. Except at the end of the season when they played the Seattle Supersonics, and Jordan, after they won, Jordan fell on the ball at half court and started crying. You know, camera pulls back. No one knew why. They go to the locker room after the commercials, and Jordan's still crying in the locker room. They didn't know until later that what had happened was that Jordan had dedicated his season in honor of his father. and that every time he practiced, every time he won a game, it was for his dad. And they won that last game, the championship game, on Father's Day. And Jordan said later, it was just too much. I couldn't hold it. I just whoosh. But see, that's a good example of men using action to process their loss. Every time he won a game for his dad, he was thinking of his dad. He was telling that story of his dad. This is all that support groups do, is it helps people tell the story, right? Well, men tell their story through their action. Yeah.
I have another example. So you remember when Kobe Bryant slept with that 19-year-old girl in the 2000s, and she accused him of the R word, and then he got off the criminal charges, but they had the civil case, and he settled out of court. You know that happened. He got charged in the middle of the Lakers of the Lakers season. You know that he showed up every single game. They won like 27 games in a row. Seriously. He kept showing up and he kept winning. All that adversity, that craziness, all those charges, all the media attention. You best believe Kobe Bryant showed up every freaking game, showed up to every press conference and kept on winning.
He listened to your dad.
Yep. Get mad about it. Go do something about it. Don't just sit there
and put the anger into action.
Tom, Cowboy and I are in Chicago. We're Chicago, so I remember that Jordan Sonic series. In fact, the one night, I think the night before that night, Soundgarden was playing here, and we were at the concert, and the guitarist kept posting the score on his mic.
Yeah,
and how bad they were beating him.
Yeah, I love Jordan. Oh my gosh. I went to the University of Maryland. Of course, he was with UNC, and I'd love to watch him play, even though I hated him beating the crap out of us. He was fluid, man. The guy was just fluid in college and, of course, in the pros.
I wish we didn't have to talk about the Supersonics. I'm born and raised in Seattle, and when the Sonics left, it was brutal, man. It was brutal.
Well, the other thing Jordan did to honor his father was he went into minor league baseball. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And did you know that he did that to honor his father? His father always wanted him to play baseball. And so he quit basketball and started playing baseball minor league.
Yeah, he was playing for the White Sox.
Well, for their minor league team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So men honor. They do things in honor of, and that's the way we heal up. And most women are completely blind to this. And they have no idea that men are doing this. When women find out, they get excited. You go, oh, it's like I give these workshops for, mental health professionals on men and how men deal with emotions differently. And afterwards, I guarantee you, one or two women are going to come up to me and say, Mr. Colton, thank you so much. Now I understand my husband. I can't wait to get home. It's like they really get it. And they change their behavior towards men once they understand that men do things differently. And they've been brainwashed into thinking the only way to deal with things is to cry and talk about it. That's bullshit. Oh, me.
Yeah, it's like when one of the biggest differences between men and women I found is us guys, we can literally be thinking about nothing, like literally. So like a woman says, what are you thinking about? Nothing.
Nothing at all.
And they can't believe it. And so my twin brother and I, we ran an informal mentorship group in the Silver Spring, Gaithersburg area for about 3 years with young African immigrant and young African American men. And because Black America is such a matriarchy, like men were raised to like explain things to women and like emote to women, because a lot of us Black men come from single mothers. And the first step I used to tell my guys, I'm like, guys, stop explaining stuff to women. Stop. The best thing I would teach them a phrase. If women, so what's wrong? Say, I got nothing for you. What are you doing? I got nothing for you. Seriously, stop. And a lot of guys, just a lot of Black men, they've been doing it for so long that they feel weird, or they feel bad about not doing it. And it's like, I'm not even telling you to lie or be disingenuous. Just don't say, you don't have to explain yourself to women. Just
That's
say
it.
nothing.
That's
Say
it.
nothing. You can literally
That's
have
it.
nothing on your mind. Just say nothing.
Yep.
That's the
That's it.
first step. Stop explaining yourself to women.
I'll never
You
forget
know,
that.
that reminds me of a video I was watching the other day of Tom Golden speaking with Professor Genevieve Mango, and they were talking about all of the intricacies of consent, and it was focused on, I think it was like college campuses, and how
Oof.
it just absolutely kills the mood when the man is constantly having to say, "Is this okay? Is that okay? Can I touch you here? Can I put my arm around you? Can I kiss you again?" You know, and it's just all these rules have been used to hamstring men, and it's getting to the point where men and women can't even bond. We can't even pair bond anymore.
That's the idea.
You know that they did a poll back in 2017. No, I think it was 2018, and it said that 33% of undergrad men polled at I forgot how many universities, but it was like a sample size of like 27,000 students. They're freshmen and sophomores. 33% said that they'd rather play video games than deal with women on college campus. And that was back in 2018. So I guarantee you it's
Yeah.
risen up
Right.
now.
Yeah, it's
I
probably
guarantee
50%
it.
or more.
Yep.
Right,
Because
especially
women
after
have been
the
inflated. I mean, women have just been inflated with bullshit. I mean, they're told that they're wonderful, that there's nothing wrong with them, that they deserve more because they've been oppressed. And it's like they're living this idea, and it makes relationships almost impossible. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and meanwhile, they're throwing lie on their fathers for not taking them to the fucking
Exactly right. And then getting off for it, you know. Oh well.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Strange world we live in, eh?
Yeah, no,
And
it's
guys,
it's funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. I mean, I'm sure all
right.
of us here we're also aware of the at this point I wouldn't even call it a dip. I would call it a crash. Our populations are starting to crash. Um,
Yep.
I remember learning South Korea. South Korea has the lowest birth rate in the world, followed right behind I think it's Japan. It seems like
Huh.
we're moving in the direction of, let's say, Japan. Japan is becoming like a sexless society. No one's having kids. It's just impossible to get together. It's just harder and harder every year to find a mate, to get married, to have a family, to have children. So I mean, it's almost like a ginormous it's almost like a huge societal cataclysm, but it's happening in
Yes.
slow motion. What do you think
Yeah,
of that?
really. Exactly.
But
And you don't even know it.
Mgtow Cowboy, one of the best parts about this, so is men, we can win alone. We've been doing it since the beginning of time, but women can't. And
Hmm.
too many women are they're staring down the barrel of being alone for the rest of their lives, and like, uh-oh. But by then it's too late. I'm telling you, I do these stories about women, and it's just, especially because in the DC area, like the DMV, all the women they used to call Kevin Samuels show must have lived in the DMV area, man. All these strong, independent women, and I would go on dates with these women, and they talk about their jobs and all the stuff that I don't care about, and like, it's like, I'd ask these women because they talk about their careers, talk about their sororities and stuff, and I'd ask them like, where are you going to fit a man into all this? And I thought that the cough would turn it around because, like, all these women who love to travel and have all the activities, all that was shut down. But if the cough couldn't reverse the trend, I don't know what will. Like, we're just going to have an epidemic of single, lonely women. It's only going to get worse, and I'm going to laugh.
Yep.
I
I'll be
actually think
chuckling
that
with you.
I think the whole COVID thing, I actually think it accelerated or exacerbated the current
Don't
trend.
say the C word, Mgtow.
Oh,
Really?
really?
Yeah,
Can
say
that still get you in trouble?
cough or the bug or some. Don't say the C word, man.
Smoke and smoke.
It'll shit. Yeah, if you say it too many times, your stream will get shut down.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. I'll call it I guess I'll call it the sickness then. The sickness.
Yes. Yeah, do that.
Gentlemen, I'm going to have to take off.
Oh,
But
okay.
It's been enjoyable to be with you.
Yeah,
Had a
no,
good
thank
time.
you
Thank
again
you for your time,
Can
Tom.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It's been great to be here. And please come see me on Locals or Substack. And we'll have a good time there too.
Cool. Okay. Thank you so much.
I was going to say, Mr. Golden, very quickly, can you just plug? Can you just reiterate yourself, your channel, your books?
Thank you. Yeah,
please.
come see me on Locals at menaregood.locals.com or menaregood.substack.com. You know, or menaregood.com is another place where I hang out sometimes. And I got 3 books. The snake book we talked about, the Way Men Heal book, and also I wrote a book for mothers. So all these single mothers who've got sons, it would drive me crazy because they didn't know the first thing about raising a son. With no dads in the house, it was just amazingly just like fingernails on the chalkboard, you know. So I thought I'm going to write a book for women that helps them understand boys and the way boys are. And I wrote it, and guess what? The other 2 books do fine. That one's like nobody buys it. It's a shame because it's a really good little book, but women don't want to be told what to do.
I have one thing to say. So, like, I have a friend who's a half white, beautiful woman, and she has a son, right? And she's like Buddhist chakra energies, whatever. And her son is 10, right? And she keeps, this is so crazy. She says, when he turns his masculinity on, I have to send him over to his dad's house. And I said, boys, we don't turn our testosterone and masculinity on. It's there how do you think that a boy's masculinity and testosterone is something that gets switched on and off? I was like, her son is screwed. He's doomed. He's doomed. But she was dead serious. She said, when his testosterone turns on, I said, my God.
She doesn't even know what testosterone does.
Yeah.
And that's so critical for women to know what testosterone does. It doesn't make men angry. It doesn't make men violent. What does it do? It makes them want to strive for status.
Yep.
They found that in the last 15 years, basically.
It makes us actionable. It's called actionable.
It makes men want to get higher and higher in the hierarchy. And this is completely and utterly different from what they thought of before. They tried for 30 years to prove that testosterone was about violence and aggression. It's not.
Can I ask you one last question? I know you have to go, but I thought of the best. What do you think of when you hear the term toxic masculinity?
Oh God, don't get me started on that.
You don't have enough time?
There's not enough time in the world for that question. That's just, man.
We should have started with that question. Dang it.
How about this? Here's one last question. Here's one last question for Tom. Tom, do you think things are going to get worse before they get better?
I'm afraid it is.
Yeah.
You know, but Mgtow is the one bright shining star. You know, I mean, this is what's shifting things, and this is what happens. And this is the way cultures change, is groups will form like this. And, you know, suddenly, of course, everyone shames them to begin with and throws them out the window and says they're idiots and fools. But slowly it begins to change, you know. If we didn't have Mgtow, I'd say we may be in trouble, you know. But the toxic masculinity is one more way to shame men, you know, and this is what they've been doing for 50 years, is they've been trying to soften the identity of men. That's the purpose of it. It's to soften the identity. And this is the whole, if you look at the brainwashing, this is the first element of brainwashing. Is the first thing you do is you soften the identity. Men are pigs. All men are rapists. Men are scum. All the things they've called us for years and years. Now the toxic masculinity is the last peg. You know, it's like toxic. These men are toxic. And so men are trying to not be men now. These young guys, they're trying to not be masculine, you know?
Right.
And so they've succeeded in basically turning masculinity off. What a sad note to end on. But it's true. It's crazy, man.
I think it's gonna backfire.
I love you, Doug.
Sorry about that.
No, man, not to worry. It's a good question. It's so important that we challenge that crap. Every time someone says something about toxic masculinity, challenge their ass. Say, how about toxic femininity?
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Because if one exists, the other has to too.
Exactly. There you go.
Yep.
Yep.
But not in their
Okay.
book.
All right. Well, I guess we'll leave it at that. Mr.
Very
Golden, thank
good.
you so much for your time, sir.
It's been great. It's been fun, guys. And you all take care. And thank you for being Mgtow. We'll
All
see
right.
you
Thank
then.
you again.
Have a
That's
great day.
Mr.
We'll see if
Golden.
I can figure out how to get out of here.
Go to
Press the,
StreamYard
sit-
and at the
there
there
it
he
goes.
goes.
You figured it out.
Man, what a good guy. That was awesome.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, right. You guys have heard of him. He's a big name in the MRM and the what's it called, the men's rights movement.
Yeah, that was great, man. I can only imagine because that's gonna be, I'm only 42 and I still do I find myself doing the when I was young. I can imagine, him, in the 80s and the 90s, and then I wish we could have picked his brain a little more because he probably saw a lot of this coming and he's just sitting back and laughing, dude. He's sitting back and laughing.
Yeah, I don't know. Laughing. I don't know. At this point, it's more like this is depressing when you think about it. But I don't know. My of course, I've said this before. I'll say it again. My end goal is political change. I literally want to get rid of what you could call the family court, or at least seriously reform it. I think what's going on is a crime. I see all these men. I literally mean like the majority of them now. 7 out of 10 men. They're busted. They're broken. They're hurt inside. They're divorced. They're paying child support. Listen, right now, while we were interviewing Tom Golden, I got a text message from a friend of mine. I unfortunately had a flat tire, and he helped me buy a new rim and all this. And him and I have become good friends, fast friends. He used to be my boss. He's paying his last month of child support next month, and he's a nice guy, but it just dragged him down. He's, I don't know, in his late 40s, 47, 48, something like that. And he's told me before, he wanted to, buy properties and become wealthy and all this, but he can't do it when he's paying child support on two kids. And, he thought maybe he could just get a second job to make extra money. Guess what happened? When he got a second job?
It took more.
After the third or fourth month, she got wind of what was going on, that he was making more money, and she hit him up she took him back to court to up his child support.
Of course you did.
Tell you, that's one of the reasons why I have no children, man, and it's not happening. I'm telling you, I used to tell, I just, guys, the best solution in immediate and intermediate is disengage, guys. Disengage. The friend that I was talking to you about who said that her son turns on his testosterone, she's talking about how she thinks that there's a war. I told you she's one of those energy chakra people. That there's a war between the man masculine energy and the female masculine energy. I said, no, that's not true at all. I said, no. No. A lot of offices now and college campuses are mostly women. And then hypergamy has it where women are 80% of women are going for 20% of the guys. So women are fighting each other. Women are just going to have to fight each other enough to realize, I don't want to fight other women anymore and come back to men. I'm telling you, women are starting to be like, look, I'm tired of being out here. There is a social infrastructure in place that enables women to do the strong independent stuff, but that only lasts for so long. Telling you, women need the company of men. They need physical touch. They need relationships and commitment. Men don't. Men can win alone. Guys, disengage yourself. All you can do.
I completely agree. I actually think that women go crazy if they don't have any sort of male interaction whatsoever. I think that in a way was actually the purpose of things like organized religion, or in this particular case, we could say the church. Where would we typically send like old ladies who maybe are widows or maybe women? I don't want to use the word spinster, but let's say women who never got married. Where would you find them? Where would they congregate? They go to the church, and at least they have one man to actually talk to on a regular basis. I have this sneaking suspicion that women, in a way, women actually need some level of male you call it touch, interaction, social. Women need some sort of social interaction with men, or I think they go crazy. That's why I think Mgtow represents like the biggest threat. What's the word I'm looking for? Like an existential crisis to women, because in their mind they blow a gasket. How can you not want anything to do with me under any circumstances? It sounds crazy, but
I always say that so since the 70s and the start of through with feminism is Wigtow. It's women going their own way. Men didn't start responding until the 2000s and the 2010s. And here's the thing: both sides have to. Women have had to dull their emotional need for the physical touch of a man. Now, social media has kind of helped that along because women want attention any way that they can get it, and social media is kind of like a dog to women, where they'll get a dog that has social media. But men, like, we've had to dull our natural instinct to protect and provide for women. But once you do that, you're good to go. And once again, like I said before, the biggest difference is that men can win alone, women cannot.
Well,
Hey guys,
AJ,
real quick,
hey,
I
what's
am
going
going
on?
what's
to,
going on, everybody?
I'm going to jump out. I got to go get something to eat because I haven't eaten anything all day. Doug, it was nice to meet you. I'm sub to you, so I look forward to your videos, and so you too, AJ. So
Yeah,
guys,
cool.
I appreciate
I'll
it,
see you guys
Paul.
later.
Good to meet you too, buddy.
all right,
Yeah,
Polska, take care. Thanks again. So I'm sorry, I've never spoken with this gentleman. Who is this? AJ?
Hi, this is AJ. I have I have a Red Pill channel, Mgtow channel. I've been making videos for about 6 months, and I went viral actually in November. I have a video that it's like 129,000 views. I went viral, and even the Young Turks shared a clip of it, and it was on the whole Me Too in the M2 in the workplace. And the backlash, they say, quote unquote, how men are going their own way at work, right? They're saying, look, I'm a surgeon, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, whatever. And now, because of the M2 thing, I don't talk to women. I'm not alone with women. I don't mentor them. I don't travel with them. No happy hours, no holiday parties. And all these women are saying, well, how are we supposed to be mentored and we're losing spots at work? Well, that's your own problem. You know what I'm saying? So I have a whole series about that. So I've been, doing kind of in the red pill space for about, years now, but I've been creating content now for about six months, and things are going really, really well. So I think that I've seen your channel, Mgtow Cowboy, and I like the stuff that you do over here. So,
Oh yeah, thank you again. I've never heard of your channel. I'll definitely look into it. If you want to please do me a favor, after the stream is over and after it's posted on YouTube, if you can leave a quick comment, and then from that comment I can tap on your icon, your avatar, and then connect to the channel. I'm always looking for fresh content.
Sure, and I think that my most popular series had been one like lesbians on TikTok complaining about how much harder it is dating women than men.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna date women. It's gonna be easier. And all these horror stories.
Yeah, you almost said that too, like Jesse Lee Peterson. He's like, lesbians.
Yeah, lesbians, right? And then I also have one. My second viral one was workplace romance is dead. And then I had one where it says that women are less likely to get CPR from men in public. So if a man falls down,
the second she comes to, you're going to be, you're bad touching her now. So
facts. Yep. But as far as changing the legal system, though, that I'm going to say that you have to be the most optimistic Mgtow that I've ever heard, because that's not going to happen. And the reason why is because there's so much money in it, right? Remember that the judges collect a percentage of every child support and alimony dollar that they order. And then the states get matched 66 cents on the dollar for every child support dollar that they collect. So there's no way that they're going to let this multi-billion-dollar industry go away. Ever.
Right, exactly. Right. And so I don't know all the details of that. Multiple people I know have spoken about this. Like, I guess you just spoke about it. Terrence Popp has spoken about this. On the macro, my understanding is you can call it whatever you want. Legally, it's called family court. But domestic violence court, divorce court, child custody court, child support court, we just call it family court. Family court makes more money. It generates more revenue than all other courts combined. Typically, somewhere between 50 and 60 billion dollars a year is generated from family court. And so, yes, you can essentially look at it like that. You can essentially look at it like an industry. All these people are getting paid. It's not just the judges. You bring up the judges, the bailiffs, the police, caseworkers, stenographers, the courts themselves, the lawyers. Everyone's getting paid. Guess who's flipping the bill for this? It's these men.
Yeah, it's redistribution of wealth to the government and women, but via the government. That's all it is, right? And the thing is this is how dumb that these feminists are, right? Well, I wouldn't even say feminists are. Feminists, well, the average woman is just not intelligent. Sorry, they're just not. But the feminists made it even worse because they don't realize that there was a conspiracy to get women to be consumers, right? And they literally helped that happen by pushing this agenda that helps the whole cosmopolitan magazine lifestyle, right? Also by pushing women into buying more homes and getting more student loan debt to where, oops, you know what I'm saying? They push these women into such a negative position economically. Yes, they can say that there's more women earning more money, blah blah blah. But men still make most of the money, and then those of the women
and pay most of the taxes
money,
too.
Yeah, the women who do make most of the money have more debt. All the high earning women that I know are up to their eyeballs in debt. So are they winning? Cowboy guys.
Well,
it's a guy. Sorry.
AJ, do me a favor. Put a comment in the chat because a couple of Timmy Kramer's asking for your channel. So Timmy Kramer, once AJ puts a comment, you can click on the little dots on the right of his comment, and you can go to his channel. Okay. So
I'll do that
AJ,
now.
put a comment in the chat real quick. Go ahead.
The Mgtow Cowboy, you were saying something? Sorry.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I must have forgot what I was going to say.
I'm just saying, if you have Mgtow Cowboy makes $50,000 a year, hypothetically, with no student loan debt, he's going to be better off than a woman who's a lawyer making $140,000 a year, but with $300,000 worth of student loan debt, a $70,000 Maserati. You know what I'm saying? And bad credit. And that's what's going on, man.
Let me speak on that for a second, just because you brought it up, and I will use myself as an example. So, I'm not a doctor, right? I'm not an orthopedic surgeon. I'm not making $250,000 a year. I'm in my first year in big rig trucking. I got my CDL like 6 years ago. I drove a small truck, a 24-foot refrigerated box truck, and then I graduated to the higher level, which is like the big rig. I matriculated to it's called the Type 2 combination, 18-wheeler, call it whatever you want. I'm just finishing up my first year. I think I'm in next week will be like the beginning of my 10th month or 11th month. I can't remember. I was hired. Do you guys remember the day that the Queen of England died? That's the day I was hired at this new job.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
So whatever, 10 months ago, 11 months ago, whatever. This year, basically, I'm at about $70K a year. Okay, so it's a blue collar job, but the thing is, I don't have any college debt. I already paid off all my college debt. I have a tiny little car. Yeah. My all college loans are paid off. My car's paid off. I only pay $575 a month in rent. I live in a tiny, what's it called, a studio apartment. I'm a minimalist,
Yeah.
What I see
most
is,
men are naturally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there's-
what I see is a lot of women, like for example, my last girlfriend. I haven't dated now in like 8 years, 9 years. She was a nice girl, nice girl. She went to Carthage, which is like a small liberal arts college in, I can't remember, Northwest Illinois or Southwest Wisconsin. I can't remember. And yeah, she graduated, but she had like $50,000 in debt, and she became a vet tech. She's only making like $50,000 a year.
Yeah,
So,
but she's
how is she going to pay this off? I'm in a better position than she is, even
how
though,
much money does she have in debt?
well,
50,000.
Carthage is very expensive. So she had, who knows? It could hopefully she paid it down or paid it off by now. But the point is these women, they think that they get saddled up with debt. They think they're going to make a ton of money, and then they end up falling into like a middle class, a job that makes a middle class salary, and then they end up having to pay off this debt for like 10 years or more, 15 years or more.
So see, Mgtow,
Well-
I'm gonna have to stop you there, man, because I live in the DMV area, man, and I have, first off, I have a $100,000 limit. Like I can maybe see dating a woman who has a professional job and she has less than 100,000 if she's attractive and has a good attitude. But I've met women who are $200,000 in student loan debt, make $85,000 a year, and they try to live a lavish lifestyle while they have all that debt. So you see all these women traveling, have a nice car, buying a house with $150,000 in student loan debt. Women will will buy a house knowing that they can't afford it and just figure it out. We'll go into $150,000 in student loan debt knowing that they can't afford it, but we'll just figure it out. Men, we are cost benefit calculators naturally.
Yeah, one thing that I've made a couple of videos about is saying how the whole meme of this is what a bachelor's house looks like, and it's like the lawn chair, the Xbox, the mini fridge, and the TV, right? Like that's a joke, ha ha ha. No, I mean, how is that fun? Like, how is that like a diss? You know what I'm saying? And it's funny that Doug MPA made a video called how they use this stupid term, weaponized incompetence. Doug MPA, what was that again?
Yeah. It was weaponized
They're trying to say men don't clean well enough so that their wives will just do it for them. No, it's men. We men can take care of ourselves. These women think I'm going to go to this guy's house. He's 32 and he lives by himself. You know what? His furniture doesn't match. He likes his shoes in a certain spot. He's got a clean clothes hamper and a dirty clothes hamper. This guy lives like an animal. No, he lives his own way. That's clean enough for him. It's organized enough for him. She thinks the default way to do things is her way. And that's how women think. And that's how society is. Whether it's public school or anything else, female thinking is the correct thinking. A guy doesn't go to a girl's house and be like, why she got all these pillows on this bed or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys, we can say that's the way she does things. This is the way I do ours. And that's why
I have this idea that I know this sounds conspiratorial, but I'm just being totally honest. I have this idea that this has been ingrained into us. You can call it whatever you want. Social engineering, causing your perspective to change. And I think it's been multi-generational. If you go back, I actually think this could have been going on for hundreds of years, where there's this idea that the man, the way that the man thinks, the way that men do things, it must be constantly criticized. And so that men essentially become dispossessed of their power in society, and then the power becomes transferred over to the woman. I'm sorry.
But it's marketing though. It's marketing though, because look, how did it always go? The man would have his place or whatever, and then he would have a house knowing that the wife was going to be there. Then of course she moves in, and what happens? They get all new furniture. His stuff goes out the window or goes in the basement, and they consume. That was the first way to start getting couples to consume. Whereas back in the 1800s, 1910s, 20s, 30s, 40s, couples didn't spend much money. Couples still don't much, but it was a way for the woman to say, look, I'm going to make my mark on this guy's domain and shell out money doing it. A woman makes a home. What do you say? A man builds the house, but a woman makes a house a home. Come on, man. And all that is just any type of that silly sentences and all that is just advertising and marketing. It's making it so that all of a sudden men who have perfectly good furniture or whatever, now they got to spend a whole bunch of money to move some broad into their house. It's just money. Follow the money.
So essentially, what you're saying is we have reformatted society because there's a commercial interest by some forces, by some people.
Yeah, and women are easily manipulated and use retail as therapy. They invented the term retail therapy.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but I don't think women care. Let me give you an example. The last girl I was dating, again, this was years ago. It's 8 years ago, 9 years ago now. I remember we would have many conversations. One of the conversations I had with her was the whole concept of the ring, the marriage ring, the diamond ring, and how I don't even know. First it was the diamond ring. Now there's like an engagement ring. Now there's a third ring or something. I don't even know all the damn rings. And
the suffering.
I like that. Very good. Very good. The suffer ring. Got it. Very good. That's rich. Okay. But the point is, I was bringing up how I was telling her, in the past, this is a relatively new practice, and I brought up like the De Beers Corporation and how they promoted the diamond ring, and then decades over many decades, it became commonplace, it became common practice. So essentially, it's like we've been brainwashed to believe, and supposedly you're supposed to spend 3 months of your salary for the ring or some bullshit. And I'm explaining all this to her, and she's like, but I still want it. And it's like, yeah, see, that's the problem. The women don't care. Or, I'm sorry, I know that sounds really crass, but women don't care. But you're gonna, but as we Mgtow men, we tell each other and we try to disseminate out to the rest of the world, you as a man, you better care, because it's your hide, it's your butt on the line. Either you're going to become wealthy, or you're going to turn into one of those guys who's like 65 years old and you've been controlled by a woman, you've gotten married, you've gotten divorced. Either you're going to be that guy who's successful, or you're going to be the guy who's not successful. And in this current environment, you're much more likely to be successful if you don't go the traditional route of marrying a woman.
Mgtow, just think about, and all the guys in the chat, just think about when you go to shop for, like, okay, first of all, men don't shop. We already know what we want. Get there. But think about when you do go to like the mall. Okay, let's just say that you got to buy a new pair of jeans or a new shirt or whatever. What do? You get out of the car, you walk straight to where you want to go, you buy your thing, and you get the hell out of there. That's how we are. I mean, all guys, I guarantee everyone on this live, we can all agree. Women shop as a hobby. When you actually have a woman in your life, you understand how much more time that you spend in a store, how much more time that you spend in a mall, how much time that you spend like either buying stuff and the act of buying stuff. It's absolutely insane.
I've said this before. I think this is like, this operates, this has an effect on women almost like on a genetic level. I think that men we're producers. We like to go out and whatever, slay the mammoth or go kill the saber-toothed tiger. And men produce and women consume.
That's true.
And this is how our entire society is formatted. And
and there's always an artificial rock bottom for women, because not enough men will just check out, right? There's always going to be some. See, I would say on my channel, never trust a woman who's crying in public or on social media, right? Once you steel yourself to women's tears, your whole outlook changes. I don't feel bad if I see some broad crying on the street. I keep walking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel the need to help women anymore. I'm stone cold. That's like, I think one of the major things that I don't want to say got in trouble, but one of the major things that I got pushback for was I made a video called Never Do the Right Thing. Never, quote unquote, do the right thing. And I say, guys, if a woman, first of all, always wrap it up. Never trust a woman who says she's on birth control, ever. Okay? I don't care how long you guys have been together. Don't do it, right? But if she gets pregnant, okay, and she decides to make you a father without your consent, all she should get from you is direct deposit. That's it. We'll get a DNA test first. But no one can force you to be a father. No one. No one does. And to anyone out there, if I have any kids I don't know about, don't come knocking on my door. But I will slam the door in your face, guys. No one can force you to do anything these days. And that was the first time I actually got some simps in my comments going, yeah, how dare you know your children? And I'm like, see that
well, that's because that's because you know what you're going up against. You're going up against an entire system, again, in my opinion, of indoctrination, and from a very, very young age. We teach young men, we partition men off from women, and we teach men, listen, this is how it is. These are women. You got to treat them differently. There's there's no hitting girls. Don't hit a girl.
Yeah, we have to make them feel equal. We treat them equally, but make them wait. Hold on. We have to make them
women and children. Women and children first, but you can't hit women. Women are special. Or women are equal, but they're also special. But they're also victims. And like and so as a man, you're just like, damn, like what? And I do believe that this is it's essentially multi-generational brainwashing. In fact, I think I think this has gone back for hundreds of years. And where we have arrived at now, essentially, is an epoch or a time in history where women control everything. Women have the advantage in all social transactions. And so if that's the case, ergo, or therefore, the best way to win is to not play their game. Yeah, of course, the second women pick up on that, they're going to attack you. They're going to criticize you. They're going to call you a misandrist. They're going to say you hate women. So it's. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because if you allow them to draw you back into that system, then you're going to lose anyway. The only way to and it's not a catch-22. The only way to win is to not play their game. So I mean, that's sort of where I'm at. You can call it a scorched earth policy. You can call it whatever you want.
Guys, I have to drop off.
Yeah. I'm going to end the stream in just a couple minutes.
Yeah, I just have a question for you, Mgtow, if you have a minute.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, bro.
How do you feel about the so-called trad cons hating on the MGTOWs and the red pills?
Well, I used to be. See, here's the problem. I used to be a trad con. I used to be a trad cuck, because I think I was raised to be a trad cuck. But what you realize, what you eventually come to see, is on both the left and the right.
Yep.
At the end of the day, they're both gynocentric. Yep. They both prioritize women and what women want, the hopes and dreams, the political aspirations of women over men. Once you realize that, it's like, well, I'm not even traditional anymore. So some of my I remember let me give you an example. I love using examples. A guy who used to be my best friend back in high school. We sort of had a falling out, mainly because he became a liberal cuck. He became a total pussy ass bitch. I would make fun of him and say, okay, he's liberal, and he would always say things like, "Oh, Joe, my name is Joe. Joe, you're traditional. You're the one who's traditional. You're the one who's conservative." And it got to a point once I became Mgtow, I would tell him, if you think about it, you're the one at this point. You're more traditional than me. You believe in traditional long-term relationships with women. Is that not a traditional way of living life? He now lives with his girlfriend. I don't think that they're married, but the point is, he claims that he's liberal. He claims that he's progressive, but he's living a life that's more traditional than mine. He lives with a woman, and so I call him out on that. And he's just like he doesn't really know what to say, but he does know what to say. He's going to do what women want, so that his girlfriend touches his pee, and And so what I do is I frequent prostitutes. I pick up girls, and I think that's the way to go until this whole system changes. I think the system's going to have to crash. That's what
And remember, with them, you are paying them for the sex. You're paying them to leave. And I just think,
Right.
that it's funny that ultimately, guys, Mgtow says any Mgtow guy looks at all these blue pills and all these trad and we look at him and say, dude, it's in the mail, bro. You are gonna learn one day, because there's
That's
that
right.
woman's
That's right.
high heel shoes hovering right over your balls, and she's gonna stomp on it, dude. And then you'll be looking on YouTube,
Right.
and you'll find Mgtow's channel and all these guys, and you'll wake up. It just sucks that people look at spaces like ours and they go, "Oh, all these guys are angry. All these guys are all this stuff." It's like, dude, good luck. You know what I mean? But hey, I appreciate your time, pal. And yeah, man, what a collab again. I'll hit you
Oh
up.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Do you have an email?
let me
on your-
end the stream, but I'll definitely take a look at your channel. Please, again, do me a favor. Leave some sort of comment after it's posted. This way I can very easily access your channel.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I will. And I appreciate you guys. And yeah, man, have a good night. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. What's your name one more time? AJ? Is it AJ? Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'll leave it at that. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to end the stream here. I hope all of you are well. Of course, please do yourselves a favor and do the wider community a favor. Please disseminate this information far and wide. Tell men the truth. Tell them it's not worth getting married anymore. Tell them don't cohabitate with the woman. Don't marry a woman. And things are probably going to get worse before they get better. So hold the line. All right, with that, I'll end it. Gentlemen, take care. This is the Mgtow Cowboy. End transmission.